you know, if you like the federal government, they used to have pens that you didn't want to steal.
Yeah, they respond.
They were-
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the 100th meeting of the Jacksonville Tourism Development Authority. It's only taken us, what, 14 years, I guess, to get here, but that's okay.
2010.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I was at the first one,
Okay, good, good.
You're at the
Anyway,
100th one, too.
because I am, and a lot in between.
So, as usual, the first order of business today is to have a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
And then secondly, we will move on to the approval of the minutes for the regular meeting, September 25th, 2024. Any corrections for the clerk?
So moved
today?
again.
Make motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Very good, very good. Well, we're going to, that time of year, so we're going to move right on to the presentation of our financial audit for 2024. And we're looking to hear from Ms. Kaylee, I just had it. Ms. Bagasala.
Bagasala, yep. That's me. I'm Leanne Bagasala. It's nice to see everybody again this afternoon. I serve as the audit director at Maltas and Jenkins. We're your external auditors. And this afternoon, I'm going to be presenting the audit results for your fiscal year 2024 audit. That's July 1st, 2023 through 6/30/2024. This slide right here is just an agenda of the things that we will go over. I'll let you know who your engagement team is, go over your audit opinions and the scope of our procedures. And then there's a couple of slides for required communication that I do have to go through. And then there are some new standards that are coming up that I'll let you know about. But at any time, if you have questions, please feel free to stop me. So this slide right here depicts who Maltas and Jenkins are. We are a firm that has been in business over 100,000 years. 100,000, oh my gosh, 100 years.
How you feeling?
Yeah. We are based out of Atlanta. Yeah. We're based out of Atlanta, Georgia, but we operate in 6 states, and the Raleigh, North Carolina office is the one that serves your audit. I served as your engagement director. I also was your engagement director in the prior year. Tim Lyons served as your second partner. He does a quality review over the financial statements. And Jack Wood served as your senior associate. So you do have a consistent team from year to year that we've been working on the audit. This slide here goes over your audit opinion. So our responsibility as your auditors is to consider the internal control structure of the TDA and the basic financial statements, but not for the purposes of providing an opinion on the effectiveness of internal controls. We ensure that your audit was performed in accordance with generally accepted accounting standards as well as governmental accounting standards. We are giving you an opinion that provide reasonable assurance, but not absolute assurance, that your basic financial statements are free of material misstatements. But ultimately, your financial statements are the responsibility of the authority's management. In our basic financial statement opinion that's at the front of your financial statement, we issued an unmodified or a clean audit opinion. That's the highest level of assurance that we can provide, that your statements present fairly with generally accepted accounting standards in the United States of America, but our responsibility doesn't extend beyond what's in the report. We also issued a report called a yellow book opinion. It's over government auditing standards. That's in the back of your financial statements. And that report basically says that we did test the authority's internal controls and compliance with laws and regulations. The report isn't intended to provide an opinion on the internal controls, nor is it intended to provide a legal determination of the authority's compliance with laws and regulations. But we did perform that in accordance with government auditing standards, and you did receive an unmodified or a clean opinion on that one as well. There were no findings or material misstatements or significant deficiencies noted as part of our audit. The next couple slides are required communications. These are things that we are required to communicate to the board. The first one is that when you're reviewing the financial statements, you need to understand that management is responsible for selecting the accounting policies that will be used by the authority in the recording of your financial numbers. Those are included in note 1 of your financial statements. And based on, our review and during the audit, we noted that the authority is using standards generally accepted accounting principles. And we are not aware of the authority being involved in any controversial or emerging issues or guidance. In the financial statements, there are some management estimates and judgments used, and we review that as part of our audit, and we didn't have any issues with the estimates used by management in their financial reporting process. From a relationship standpoint, we got full cooperation from management and staff. There were no disagreements that were resolved during the audit. As part of the audit, we do require management to sign what's called a management representation letter that basically says that the information that gave us during the audit was accurate to the best of their abilities, and it was complete and provided any information that we basically asked for. That is something that has to get signed in order for us to issue our audit opinion. The next bullet we have is that we are not aware that management consulted with any other auditors or accountants. You know, we like to be, as your external auditor, we like to be the one that helps you with any type of, you know, accounting principle or anything like that. So there was no conflicts between us and another firm because the authority did not go and seek outside auditor or accountant input. And there was no significant issues that were discussed with management during the planning or field work of the audit. The next bullet point is related to audit adjustments, and it says that there are no unrecorded or past audit adjustments. Basically, the books and records that were given to us at the beginning of the audit didn't have any adjusting journal entries that were needed to correct them. They were correct. The next bullet is related to financial statements disclosures. Just so you know that there's, you know, about 15 or 15-ish pages, maybe not 15. There are a few pages of disclosures in your financial statements that management has prepared. As part of our audit process, we do review the management disclosures that are in the financial statements to make sure they are neutral, consistent, and provide clarity for the audit and the information that's included in the front, your financial statements. And then the last bullet I'll skip to is that just so you are aware, M&J is independent of the authority and the city of Jacksonville. That's just something that I have to let you know. I will not read these entire slides, but it just gives you a lot of information. There are a lot of GASB pronouncements that are coming up anytime that these become applicable. So the first one that we have on the slide is related to compensated absences, which is not applicable to the authority. But anytime any of these disclosures come about and they are applicable to the authority, we will work with management to ensure they're properly implemented in the financial statements. So there's one coming up related to risk disclosures. So if that was applicable, that's something that would be considered, as well as another one for a GASB 103 related to financial reporting model, which is not applicable to fiscal year 2026. But GASB is working on a lot of different projects, and that's the standards board, the issue standards that, you know, governmental entities have to abide by. There's a couple up here related to non-financial assets, going concern uncertainties, and infrastructure projects. And if they are applicable to the authority, we will work with management to make sure those are properly implemented. And there's a whole nother slide of ones that they're working on. There's a subsequent event standard that's being worked on, as well as a revenue and expense recognition standard that are coming out. It takes years to get these standards passed. So as they come out and additional information comes out, we will help provide that information to the authority. And the last slide I have is that as part of additional services to the authority, if anyone has their CPA license, we do offer continuing education throughout the year. We have quarterly training that's 8 hours of training 4 times a year to help provide that continuing education at a free cost to the authority. And that's it. Does anyone have any questions?
On the audit? Yeah, just for my own information, under the interest earned or interest income section, the $238,000, does that represent from the beginning of when we were formed? Or that's not 1 year, is it?
That's 1 year of interest earned on your investment. So in the prior year, you earned 160, about 161,000, and then the current year you earned 268,000.
Sir, what page are you on?
I'm on 16.
16.
Well, I see where 17 relates to what she just said. Well, somebody's doing a great job, so Sabrina, thank you. Keep it up.
We do have a young lady named Katie that manages the city's investments, and it did quite well last year, much better than previous years.
What does that equate in percentage? Do you know exactly? I mean, that's better than 10%, isn't it?
No.
No.
There's
no.
4 million invested. Right.
Yeah, and it's, I would have to get you. I could
Oh, so
get
it's
the-
about 5 or 6%. Okay.
I could get you the last.
No,
investment.
no, that's
Somewhere
fine.
between 4 and 5.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. They're doing a great job.
Interest rates are up, we all know that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's good for some, not so good for others.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, as you recall, this was a change that we made 2 years ago, or was it 3 years ago? Up until that point, the interest income was relatively low, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 per year. But then the investment strategy that Sabrina and her team put into place really made that money work for us. And it's continued to do that ever since.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the money was invested for the TDA prior to, but I don't know that I made a change, but I think changes may have been made about the time that I just happened to become the finance director of the TDA. I don't take the credit for it, but I think between that and the rise in interest rates, I mean, that's definitely been the biggest contributing factor.
We're trying to offer you a compliment here.
I know, I don't, yes, I did it
The
all.
right answer
Thank
was
you.
thank you.
Take it.
So is the 128 split one-third, two-thirds? When it goes into
Yes.
different funds? Okay.
Good.
Well, again, whatever you're doing is working great, so thank you.
Hopefully, we continue on the same path. We can't foresee we don't know the future, but
Yeah,
hopefully
yeah. Okay.
they stay up.
So we needed a motion to accept the audit report.
Accept the report as presented today.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passed. Leanne, thank you so much.
Thank
Look
you.
forward to seeing you next year, I hope.
All right.
So,
Thank you,
Y'all have a
Leanne.
great afternoon.
Mr. Chairman, before we move on to the next one, I really just want to say thank you to Sabrina and her team for all the hard work that they put into the audit every year. The 15 minutes of presentation certainly doesn't reflect all the work that's put into putting the financial statements together. And I know that I receive emails from her way too late at night sometimes as she's doing this. But as you probably know by now, I'm kind of a pain in the neck, and or at least can be.
Who said that?
And, well, I thought you did at one time. I'm just kidding. But anyways,
Rumors.
the point is that a lot of what we're doing right now is kind of pushing the envelope. And we're doing a lot of really great things that we haven't done in the past. It's come with full support from Sabrina and her staff. They're very kind and patient with me and the rest of the team, and pitch in every single day to make sure that we're doing the right things, and John and I and the rest of y'all up there, stay out of trouble. So, thank you, Sabrina.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So now we're going to move on to the second item of today, the approval of the 2025 meeting calendar. Anthony Prince, present.
Thank you, sir. If you don't mind, I'm going to bring this with me. I had a little bit of a scratchy throat this week. So item number 2 here is the approval of the meeting calendar for calendar year 25. As you recall, we do this every year, and the intent is to establish a meeting schedule so that it can be published in accordance with general statute, and of course, allow all of us to set up our year as far as meeting participation. So if you look in your agenda and on the screen here, the intent is to maintain the current pattern that we have, where we're meeting every other month as a regular meeting, and then every other month as a workshop. December, we never have a meeting, and we're not proposing that for next year. And as we talked about every single year since I've been working with the TDA, if there is no meaningful business to occur, then we will ask the directors to consider canceling meetings. That's most likely to happen after we get through the fiscal 26 budget adoption process. But unless there are any questions, the meeting schedule before you is what we're recommending.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make up one comment, or two, three. There's only three types of meeting that the North Carolina General Statute recognizes: regular meetings, special meetings, and emergency meetings. The meetings you have here, regular meetings and workshops, are all regular meetings. I know it's Anthony's intent that the workshops, that no action be taken. But again, there's not a workshop in the state statute, so it's best to go ahead and call it what it is. That is a regular meeting. It's not a special or emergency, because some of you have been called for emergency meetings and some for special meetings. Because again, there may come a time that you need to take action at that workshop meeting, and it is a regular meeting. So I just wanted to make that point, and that'll be reflected in the minutes and in the way it's published, that these are regular workshop meetings, and that's the way the council operates now on their 2 meetings a month. And though they call it a workshop meeting at the first, it is a regular meeting. They take action, consent items and things of that nature happen, but same thing's going to be for y'all, even though the intent, since the workshops are not going to be televised, is not to take action unless it's absolutely necessary, but you do have that discretion, is my point to you.
So, John, just to follow up on that, if you have page 44 in front of you.
Yes.
Would you recommend that we change the way that this is arranged, or is this?
No, I just think it should, after workshop, should be regular workshop meetings or vice versa.
Okay.
I think put that word regular.
So we just need to change some of the wording.
That's all.
Okay. Overall, I think we understand the intent. We'll get the nomenclature correct before all is adopted by council and advertised. So, but again, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer those.
And they can go ahead and adopt these right now at the schedule. Yes.
Absolutely. That's the request.
Well, once again, we'll look for a motion to
accept the meeting schedule.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Well, we know what we're doing next year. That's great. Or when we're doing it. Anyway.
Until it changes,
Yeah.
right?
So we'll move on to item number 3 for a 2024-25 spending plan modification. Anthony?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In your package here is a short summary of what we're asking the directors to consider. And we do this every meeting because, as you know, when we progress through the fiscal year, things change. There are some things that we want to do that are in addition to what we previously budgeted. And there are other things that we might not necessarily be able to execute upon. So those are the two considerations that we're asking you to have as you evaluate this requested modification. On the screen here, you can see that there are 2 new appropriations that we would request. Now, this is not new money. This is essentially reappropriating money within the existing budget. The Glenn Hargett consulting contract is something that's not quite ready for your consideration. We did talk about it during the workshop. It seemed like something that we wanted to move forward with, but the intent is to reappropriate some funding so that we can get ahead of the paperwork and then hopefully ask the directors to approve that contract in January. Now, Mr. Thomas, your face is telling me you're wondering why it's only $9,000.
No,
I can tell.
Months.
So exactly, yes. It's 6 months, so 9,000 is a little bit more than the 6 months that we had talked about, but it just gives us a little bit of buffer. The Sturgeon City Phase 2 contract, that's tourism-related money. The first one is promotions money, of course, but the intent there is to partner with the city and with Sturgeon City on a Phase 2 master plan. From what we understand, there may be some money available in the near future to implement a master plan if, in fact, we're able to develop one for the Environmental Education Center. So the contract would be with one of our well-known architects, John Sawyer, and it's to figure out exactly what happens next down at Sturgeon City. We also have some budget reductions that we're recommending here. Carolina Gloves is doing very well, so well that they don't feel like they need the money that we appropriated for their promotions. Last that I heard from Scott, there's record participation that's going to happen this year. And in fact, that's where all of our overnight stays come, from the participants, and not necessarily from people that we bring in from outside to come watch the fights. Research data, that's something that we're going to defer to next year. We've talked about this many times, but frankly, I would like for us to have Glenn on retainer to help us with that decision-making. For those of you who know Glenn well, that's his bread and butter is data. And so I'm sure he can assist us with that decision-making. User-generated content, we proposed a pilot last year. The directors approved that pilot. We executed on that pilot, and we also have decided not to renew the contract this year. That's the thing about a pilot. At some point, you got to decide whether you're going to continue or not. For us, it wasn't a value proposition that we felt needed to continue. The stage came in $12,000 under budget, so reappropriate. I know, we did such a great job. So $12,000 under budget, and of course, we'll reappropriate that money as needed. And then the trail and blueway signage, we've worked with a local contractor to develop a signage approach that's very attractive, very durable, but also very affordable, so we don't feel like we're going to need the entire appropriation.
Now, on that item right there, nothing is going to be reduced as far as the signage. It's just the price.
Absolutely not.
Right, okay.
I think at one time, we estimated about $1,000 per sign for fabrication and installation. It's going to come in much lower than that. So the request in front of you is to approve the spending modification, the spending plan modification as proposed, and I can answer any other questions that you have.
I've got a couple of questions.
Sure.
Help me remember where we're at with the signs for the ball field.
Well, the signs with the ball field, as you recall, what we had proposed last time we were together was a three-way partnership. Right. One with the city, with the county, and with the TDA. Since our last meeting, we've been notified by the county that they're not interested in participating in that partnership. And so we're in the process of regrouping to come back with another recommendation. The downside of that, of course, is that we're burning some time. But we will come back to you with a new approach.
It's something that just caught my eye while I was glancing over this. We had in this year's budget $75,000 for Commons digital signs.
Yes, sir.
I don't think much has transpired on that, or have I missed?
I'm sorry?
Where is that? Is it happened, or?
So if you recall, when we built the park and ride, we actually took down the sign for the Commons recreation area. And one of the things that we've gotten feedback on over time is that, you can see it, meaning the facility, but you don't always know what's going on there. Given that that's kind of where all of our events happen, or a majority of them, the thought is to reinstall signage at the Commons. So it would be at the main entrance that's always been there, the one on Recreation Loop, and then also the secondary entrance that's through the park and ride over on Commons Drive. Those would be digital transition signs where Susan and her crew could, of course, advertise to the general public what's going on, and then people coming into town would have an easier time finding where the Commons Rec Center is.
But not out at Western Boulevard.
No, sir.
No, there's no
The feasibility of doing something on Western Boulevard, at least something affordable, is very low, especially with all the roadway projects that are currently planned out there. So
it's still to come,
the
digital signs, right?
they're in design right now, yes, sir. Yep, we have concept plans. If you like, I can bring them to the next workshop and we can take a look at what they are.
That'd be great.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for Anthony?
No, I do want to make a couple of comments. First of all, it's nice that an event is telling us they don't need the money, because originally, going back to the first of the 100 meetings, it was our ideas that we would be incubators for projects that would come along, and we would start them by funding part or all of what they wanted to do. And this is a good illustration that from day one, we've filled an obligation that we thought we were going to be able to do. So that's a good plus. And I just want to comment about having a project that came in under budget. I'm not used to that. So that's
That's what you
fantastic.
call good budgeting and good bidding. How about
Wherever the
that?
compliments go, I take them there.
Point them at Susan and JoJo.
Thank you, Susan. And tell JoJo thank you.
So with Carolina Gloves, as you're probably aware, there's another tournament that's going to occur in January. It's called Silver Gloves. We're in the same situation there. They haven't asked for any promotions money on that.
Is Mike Tyson going to be at that one?
Well, that would be awesome, but I don't think so. It's not that silver. It's actually a junior boxing league
Well, he would have-
instead of a senior
He would have
boxing
to be in the golden one
Put in
anyway.
at this
Yeah,
point.
well, there you go.
Look platinum.
58 years old or something, wasn't he, 58?
Yeah.
I don't want to box him, no.
All right, gentlemen, here we've got the opportunity to approve the spending plan modification.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we got that motion passed. Now we move to our presentation items. We've got the 2025 Onslow All-Star Game.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A few weeks ago, we were contacted by Ellie Patino, who, of course, is one of the owners of the Jacksonville Ospreys. And he brought to us an opportunity to potentially submit a proposal for hosting the 2025 Old North State League All-Star Game. This is not something that comes in rotation. You know, it doesn't have anything to do with attendance. Basically, they solicit interest, teams submit proposals, they select the best of those proposals, and that's where the All-Star Game is held. You know, given the condition of our field, the location, and the time of year, we feel like we have a really good chance at hosting this next year if we are allowed to put in a proposal. And so that's going to be the end question. And unfortunately, because of timing, there's going to have to be a little bit of a leap of faith on your part because we don't have all of the information. We know this is a great opportunity, but we haven't had time to lay out all the details. We do not have a meeting in December, but the proposal has to be in by January 1st. Okay? So if you had the opportunity to watch Mr. Patino's presentation to the Board of Commissioners on Monday, I think that you would see what we all saw while we were out there. It was just an extremely positive opportunity for our community in many, many ways. The attendance at the Jacksonville Ospreys games was much higher on average than most, if not all, of the other teams in the Old North State League. One of the things that he mentioned during his presentation as well is that the Old North State League is now the largest collegiate wood bat baseball league in the nation. So, you know, we're riding the wave on something that's very positive for our community and seems to be very successful statewide. And for those who were there at opening night, it was standing room only, wasn't it, Mr. Young?
Oh, yeah.
But this is one, excuse me, this is one of my favorite pictures. Our friend Kevin Riopel took that with the drone. So here's the opportunity. It will be held on June 28th, which is the last Saturday of June. It's basically a full-day event, but it starts mid-morning. This isn't going to start at 7, 8, or 9 a.m. It's probably going to start around 10 or 11, something like that. It would require some elements of entertainment, And I had to apologize ahead of time to Susan because I was going to mention that there's no one better than our recreation department to help us with this kind of stuff. And she said, absolutely. But then we also have to work on some hotel accommodations, promotion of the event to get people out there, and then just community engagement. Part of the proposal is, how is this going to be unique within your community? Who are you going to get to participate, and how is that going to be reflective of your community's culture or just, your community in general? On the right-hand side, each one of these all-star games comes with its own customized logo. This one was from 2021. Of course, there would be one designed for 2025, and we would have lots of say in that if we were selected. Here's the lineup. And again, this is where we don't have a whole lot of information to give you. We know that we're good at a lot of this stuff, and we know that our community is well receiving of a lot of this stuff. But the thought is, pre-event, early, not early in the morning, but mid-morning, whenever the gates open, there would be some type of food and activities. These may be simple games like we have at a lot of our concert events or at Winterfest or whatnot, but it's essentially just an opportunity to welcome people to the ballpark. Then comes a home run derby that usually happens around noon or shortly after noon, and can run an hour and a half to 2 hours depending on how many people are participating. Then there would be midday entertainment. That's something a little bit more involved than what we would do to open the gates that day. So maybe it's a live band, maybe there are various contests. We had talked about Mr. Patino's really interested in a hot dog eating contest. Find a bunch of Marines to participate in that. Mr. Jackson's ready?
Yeah.
That's what it's looking like. But, do some, that's where the memorable piece of it comes in for our community itself. So there are lots of things that we can work on with recreation and the Patinos and others to make it a memorable event. The All-Star game then occurs, and then there's some form of post-game entertainment. Now, this isn't something that's going to last well into the night. It may be a small fireworks show or a small light show like we have with the red, white, and salute. Who knows? But it's basically the culmination of the day. And that's really the long and the short of it. But again, we don't have all the details to provide you. Really, the question is, do you feel interested enough in something like this to be willing for us to put in a proposal? If we put in the proposal and are selected, then of course we would come back to the board and talk about things in detail, how much it's going to cost, et cetera. The Patinos have agreed that they're going to offset some of the costs too. But this is just a great opportunity for us to bring in players and families from all over North Carolina to come to Jacksonville and experience baseball here at Jack M. Yep. So any thoughts or questions?
How many teams are in that league again?
Last I heard it was 16. I think it's up to 18 now.
Yeah, I saw in the news, I think it was last night,
Raleigh's got a team now.
I don't remember what community, but they were going to vote, the council was going to vote on it this week as they were trying to zone in on the site, but there's another one that's just ready to pop, so I don't know. First of all, it's great for the community, Jacksonville, Onslow, and you mentioned that we would bring people in from all over the state. You're actually going to bring people from all over the country because some of these players are from colleges outside of North Carolina. It's just a great opportunity to showcase Jacksonville to people who wouldn't normally be here. And it's something that this organization has supported many times.
Mr. Patino mentioned in his presentation that he's already got commitments from players that have family that originally come from Australia. They also come from I'm trying to get my mouth to work here, the Dominican Republic, and also from Canada, and of course, from basically all over the United States. So I really encourage you to take a look at that presentation. He had a lot of good stories and other things to share.
I think the only pause that I would have is the financial impact ENA. Do we have an idea, where was it held last year? Or this past
It was
year?
in Clayton.
Clayton. Do we have an idea from the folks in Clayton how much their organization, either whoever supports it, had to pony up?
I don't have that information with me, but we can certainly find that out.
Can we see if we can find that out so we'd have a
Absolutely.
ballpark figure at least?
Yeah. You're looking for the impact or the investment?
No, the investment, what it cost. Let's say the Clayton Tax Authority, funded it. I'd like to know what that number was that they ponied up.
Okay, sure.
But, I mean, it's a great opportunity for us, I believe.
It's a beach community too, during the summertime.
Yeah.
That's a huge appeal. That was another point that was made during his presentation. Why players are already signing contracts to come back this far in advance. They're actually pulling players from other teams too that played against us last year because of the environment that we have here and the field that they play on.
Do you know who gets the gate? Does it go to, does the league get the gate, or does Patino get the gate?
I imagine there's some form of split. I don't have that information, but I can certainly get that to you.
No,
Again,
I
this is.
I was just curious.
This is something that we talked about last Friday, so.
Well, the only thing
Excuse
I
me.
think we should be concerned about is we know Patino's going to put on a good show because he's demonstrated that throughout the year, is the financial impact. Because all of the rest of it's outside of our control or our, but and we're not expected to make a statement today other than support. But again, I think there's a cautionary note there. Let's make sure that once we extend that olive leaf, that we're going to pony up for wherever that amount's going to be. So I think whatever the Clayton amount turns out to be and whoever paid it would be our guide.
Sure.
Doesn't mean we stick with that amount. It could be more, could be less, but it would just be useful information before we say yay at the final day.
Well, and we'll keep you updated along the way. There won't be any surprises on this, I can guarantee.
When are they going to make their decision, do you know?
I'm not sure, again, I have this much information.
I understand.
But this much opportunity, and all of that will become more clear. What I'm hearing is that there's support for the concept, so my job is to go back, get more detailed information, and then work with the Patinos to put something reasonable together and submit it. I will get answers to all those questions, though.
Well, and I guess the other side, Susan, you don't want to bite off more than you can chew here, so I think it's important for us to know some of these entertainment things, who would be responsible. I mean, I could see the, Marine Corps band being involved, and then that's a military component and all that stuff, but we don't want to overburden our resources either, so.
JoJo can handle it. He's good at this. Right? This is a great opportunity, though.
It is,
So,
it is.
I don't think we need a vote, just if consensus is that we move forward, then that's what we'll do.
Keep our fingers crossed.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to move on to number 6, the promotions report.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Teresa.
I just have a brief update for you since we were together last month. We held our signature event, our Veterans Tribute, and that encompasses 11 days, November 1st to November 11th. There are several events within the event, and the Red, White, and Salute, the Veterans Powwow, the Tour of the Gardens, the Veterans Day Parade, and many other events. I'm going to ask Susan to tell you to give you a recap of the Red, White, and Salute, since it's the recreation
Absolutely.
team that does everything.
As always, I appreciate your support and letting us host, support, and partner with the authority to provide these activities. This is our fourth or maybe fifth one, and every year we're always looking for new ways to improve, expand. One of those this year was we added a Veterans Lane. What we did was we reached out to some arts and craft vendors and said, if you're a veteran, offer veteran owned and you can offer a discount. So we had a row of veteran owned businesses. They stayed really busy all night. We had the food trucks, which is always extremely popular. We really try to gear some of the extra entertainment for that veteran adult demographic. So we have that axe throwing, and we got a mechanical bull this year. Thank you, Mr. Carter.
Shaking his head.
They stayed very busy all night, both of them did. It's a neat event. The band we brought back from last year, rave reviews for the band that we had, so we brought back the Zach Brown 20 Ride tribute group. But it really is just it's a different feel. It does get dark, so it has that feeling of just a nighttime Friday night event, which helps us kick off the weekend. Salty Turtle did very well. That seems to be a really popular amenity at our what I'd say older, populations as far as those crowds that are there. And then, we ended the night with another laser light show. We had them again last year and this year. They did a great job. It was a beautiful night for it. Mr. Thomas was there, and if anybody else was there, I appreciate you being there. But it was a beautiful night. We had wonderful weather, and we're just looking forward to a new and improved event for next year and see how we can help grow and offer what we can to our citizens. Any questions for me? Okay. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. As always, they do a great job. So thank you, Susan. As part of the weekend, we also had the Veterans Powwow. This event, they grew to 12 food vendors, 38 craft vendors, and 5 nonprofit vendors. You'll see NC Pacific Arts Festival. They go to all of the cultural events. They are really a good collaborator. They go and promote their event, and they invite them to come to theirs and cross-promote. So it was a really great day. It's really cool when you go to this event. If you haven't been, you need to put it on your calendar for next year. It is, you'll see generations celebrating their heritage, but then you'll see generations together there to enjoy it. My family went last year and we had 4 generations there, and my mother, who's 80, and the kids who are, as young as 7, everybody had a great time. They all enjoyed different aspects of it. So it's really a great event. This young gentleman right here, you'll see he's part of the drumming group and sings. He's incredible. So what I did, I thought I'd give you a quick marketing recap for both events. The 2 events obviously fit well together, and being that the powwow is actually part of the Veterans Tribute, there are 2 campaigns. One is the Veterans Tribute that promotes all the events, and then the powwow has their own budget. So over the course of 10 weeks, we're running 2 campaigns. These 2 campaigns had over 1 million impressions, which is impressive enough. That is just the number of times that someone could have seen the ad on just digital media and online. The engagements is what rings my bell. That means people are either talking about it, they're liking it, loving it, sharing it. The number of shares that we had grew tremendously this year, which is you'll see someone tag their friend and say, this is the event I was talking about, or we need to go, Robert Warden, we need to go to this event this year. It's really cool. So that was impressive to me. We also have the billboards, and we were able to secure 7 radio stations to help us promote. We also, as part of that campaign, we have an ad in October in the Our State Magazine. So we have that in October, and then you recall in November, we had the Salute to Veterans issue, and Jacksonville was featured. So in addition to the military history, the memorials, and the International Food Trail, there was a 6-page spread in November about the powwow. And what's important to note here is in addition to all the exposure that we get from that is a result of 2 years of our PR team at work. Susan from DK Communications pitched it 2 years ago to several media players, and last year was able to secure some travel writers and one of the editor and writer from Our State Magazine. So they were here and participated in the events. So, and then this year, that's what we had, 19 pages this year in last month's issue. So pretty impressive. And the upcoming events, just to have on your radar for, in a couple weeks, we have Winterfest gearing up. And then in first quarter, we've got 4 additional events, Jazz in the City, the St. Patty's Challenge, Frogman moved from June when it's entirely too hot and too snaky. And then the, for Scott, he doesn't do snakes. And then we have the Bridal Expo in March. So we are hard at work, a lot going on.
What's the St. Patty's Engineer Challenge?
That is part of the MCCS race series.
Okay.
It's a obstacle course that they do out on the base.
And so Winterfest, is it one location, 2 locations?
We have the downtown activities, and then we run the artisan market, which is all the arts and crafts at the Commons.
Oh, that's right.
We have 2, shuttle between the 2.
And a lot of people surprisingly ride the shuttle.
They do.
So they'll take the shuttle from the Commons to downtown so they don't have to find the area but where to park. So, and then take the shuttle back. So Susan, that's a great addition.
Very good. All right.
Any other questions?
For Teresa?
Okay,
None?
thank you.
Teresa.
Thank you, Teresa. That's a good report. And that was a great thing the other Friday night. I love that. I won't miss that. Also, okay, we are on down to our director's comments, and I'll go ahead and start myself. Just want to say a special thank you to John Carter. I mean, John, he made it through 100 meetings. I guess he figured that was enough. You missed one. I was going to wonder if you missed one. That I've seen you at every one I've been to, and I'm sure there was a lot more that we didn't see. But, you know, John's came to the city in, what, 1900, I mean. Anyway, and
28 years ago.
28 years ago. And I know when I was on council, I really appreciated how he helps out and guides us and mostly kept us out of trouble and, you know, got us in trouble when we needed to be. And it's just been a wonderful experience having you on hand board and the opportunity to work with you and what you've done for us. I mean, words don't really do the thing. But anyway, I did pass the hat here, and I figured after I did it, you're going to get a real nice postcard or a cheap thank you card. So whatever Rose can work out with the $5 we raised, you know, that's what you're going to get.
Cost more than that now.
And when you back home, retired, relaxing, and you see that empty spot on the wall, think about us. That's what we left for you.
As I've told you, we don't have many empty spots on the wall to start with, or any other place. But thank you so much for those kind words, and appreciate the opportunity I've had to serve with you and, of course, with the council and so forth. But I have been at 99 of those 100 meetings. One, I was in Chapel Hill at a city attorney conference, but that's the only one that I have missed. And again, counting them, I know that. Someone asked, I think Mr. Jackson asked me the other night, well, how many council meetings? I couldn't even begin to tell you that. But it's been a wonderful experience in my professional life to be part of the city. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're going to miss you. And I don't envy those guys trying to replace you. That's for sure.
Do it the right way.
Okay, any other comments down the line?
I guess I'll add to what you were saying is that the other night when I was sitting beside Mr. Carter the other night, I didn't know if he was falling asleep or he was going to be so sad to miss me going into the future. But just to echo what Mr. Thomas has said, appreciate your knowledge. I've learned a lot through osmosis as well as asking you questions. And you're going to be missed. You can't replace what you brought to the city.
Amen.
Okay. Well,
Well, the only,
Go ahead.
go ahead, no, go.
I was just going to remind him that he was my token UNC friend.
That's right.
I thought you were a state fan.
I am, but he's my token.
You're only going to have one.
I only got one, and he's it.
So what about Josh? Okay. Emma, you can continue.
That was it.
All I want to say is wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving with you and your family. Hope you get to spend some quality time with them, and just want you to have don't eat too much and just have a great time with your family. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
No,
all right.
I'm good.
Okay,
Happy
great.
Thanksgiving, everybody.
So our next meeting is scheduled for January 30th, 2025. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Thomas, if you don't
Oh,
mind,
okay,
I hate to butt in, but
one more.
I think we do have another important announcement to make. That
Oh, that's right.
Unfortunately, Mr. Carter is not the only team member that is going to transition off the board this month. I got a call today from Mr. Davis, who is actually driving to Dallas. And as you recall, Mr. Davis just recently got a promotion, and but he was able to stay in Jacksonville, and he had planned to telecommute and stay on the board and continue participating. Well, something happened to him that was just way too good to be true. And I've asked him to send the board an email to give you the details. But let's just say that he's going to have a much more stature within the entire Hilton Corporation come Monday. Wow. And so when he called, he asked that I tell you that he felt very sad that he wasn't able to tell you in person. And he wasn't able to tell a lot of people in person because this happened literally over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago.
You know, and he says that his heart is here in Jacksonville and with the TDA, and that he's going to stay in touch with us, and that hopefully one day he'll be back. He has to do at least 1 year in Dallas, and then from there he can telecommute and decide where he wants to go. But I can't underemphasize, this is a huge promotion for him, and he will send more information.
Is he going to replace Paris Hilton in those commercials?
No, he's not.
I certainly hope not.
You never know it.
I don't think he looks
I
good in
mean,
pink.
he basically got his dream job, is what he was searching for.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I talked to him a lot when he got it and everything, so.
Fantastic. Well, pass along congratulations.
Congratulations, Chris. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Look for his email. Okay, so we can vote to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.